Hello everyone and welcome. Yes, my name is Arafire and we're on a very late running, very impromptu session of All Talk No Shock, I suppose. We're going to talk around the TFCon 23 in Orlando, third party reveals that have literally just dropped, and we got a lot to go through. Thanks very much, X-Transbots. So let's go through and see what we have, shall we?
All Talk No Shock.
Now, I will say, if you're familiar with me doing one of these before, I don't download every photo. I don't talk about everything that's revealed because, quite frankly, I haven't got the time. And there has been something shown today that we've seen over the last few weeks. So if you say, oh, there was something shown on the slides that you haven't spoken about, that's probably because we've seen it on social media over the last week or so. It won't be so brand new. What I'm trying to do is pick on the ones that are literally today fresh. So, we'll start off with an Armada Starscream, shall we? Now, we have seen this, but this is the most we've seen of this. So this is MS Cyrus the Solo Wing, and I'm still not entirely sure who's making this. It's a Legend scale Armada Starscream. It looks really, really nice. I believe it's Legend scale, coming in at that height. 12 centimeters, that's got to be around 6 inches or so. It's got to be around 5 inches or so. But it looks fantastic. I do love the articulation that this comes with. The jet mode looks really good. The red is a very soft red, very pastel-y red, but I like it nevertheless. The yellow accents used on the inside of the jets I really like. And the fact it comes with 2 swords, or swords. So yeah, we've seen a bit of this, but it was nice to see a few more renditions of it, and the fact that this is looking pretty ready to go. It's looking pretty ready to ship. So I've actually got to find out who this is. MSS. It's obviously not Magic Square, is it? But moving on to something a bit more familiar, we're on to Cang Toys. Now, Cang Toys again has shown a bit more. We've seen a bit of this before, but we actually get to look at the figures themselves. And my understanding is that in Orlando, the figures were actually there. The prototypes were actually in their display shelves. So it's probably a good time as any to talk about them. So this is looking like an 8-figure combiner set. Now, if you can just see I've got their Predaking up there, so that's not really new. We're seeing their offerings of a Volcanicus. I would say that this isn't bang on G1 at all. It's very stylized. It's what they do, but my god, it's quite a bit different. So okay, we can see their Snarl. We can see how he's got this massive spike backpack on the go, which I actually think looks really cool, if I'm being honest. It doesn't look anything like the Snarl we know, just happens to turn into a Stegosaurus. You have a Swoop, and from what I've seen of pictures of the Swoop, that is a ginormous Swoop. But if their dive bomb was anything to go by, why am I not surprised? Going on, we have their Sludge or Diplodocus or whatever species of long neck dinosaur this is. I used to know all of these as a kid. Again, that is a interesting looking mode, how the neck and the tail just kind of hang off the back of it, but I like how it looks in dino mode and carrying 2 massive clubbing hammers. So we're seeing again weapons building into a sword or a weapon of some kind that will be used in combine mode. We also get a look at a Spinosaurus, I guess, or a smaller creature. I feel like we see this design before, but of course it's not really in the canon of the Dinobots, but it's another member. And then we get another page that gets put in with, I would guess, is a Grimlock. Tyrannical looking. It has a big head with jaws, small arms. But if it is a Grimlock, it's looking a bit on the small side, but has some nice back weapons to it. But yeah, then we see them actually in the flesh. And I've got to say, seeing Snarl, the Stegosaurus, that looks good, just like that. That is very jagged, very Zoid-like. I like that you can still tell it's a Dinobot. It's not Snarl, probably, but I like it nevertheless. And it looks incredibly heavy. And let me tell you, I've got the Cang Toys. They don't exactly skimp when it comes to die cast and hefting parts. And then we see what has to surely be Volcanicus. It's not for me, but I do like things of it. I do like the sword. I love the shield inclusion you can see in the bottom right. We have the dinosaur for the chest, Grimlock as a chest, and the head does look very Grimlock, very Volcanicus-like. It shares a lot of similarities with the Predaking as well, in as much as the feet do have similar type of structuring, weight bearing to them. The hands as well look almost identical. I think they're going to be tarantula-like hands that come as parts forming or separate members if you like. So that's how he looks, and he's going to stand tall. And I was very taken with Predaking, but I'm a big fan of the Predacons. I was never a fan of Volcanicus. So, hey, we'll see how it goes. And then we move on to Fans Hobby. Not an awful lot shown by Fans Hobby, but they do post a lot of their stuff on the socials and they give us updates to their developments. We've seen a lot of their Tidal Wave, we've seen a lot of their Jetfire. Their Jetfire was actually there, as I understand it, looking in a prototype grey design, but looking very, very nice, very, very big. But what they did show us is a re-release in toy colour form of Double Evil, their version of Overlord, and this will go down very well with a lot of people because this sold out very well. It's nice, and you see the two side by side, MB08 for the original release and MB08A. Now, it might just be the picture looks a bit taller. Maybe the feet are different. Could just be perspective. Could just be the angle of. But or maybe it's just the illusion of colour. When you see them side by side, it does pop a bit more. The purple looks very nice. The blue is very royal blue. Do like that. I do expect this to sell out as well. It's a big, big bot as I understand it. I mean, you know, Overlord always was. So a Fans Hobby Overlord will be equally as big. And yeah, that will cost a pretty penny, I'm sure. But again, Fans Hobby do not do bad bots. They do not do inferior quality. But also, we have a look. We see a Shattered Glass Purple Naval Commander. A Shattered Glass Armada Optimus Prime. Now, okay, the repaints were going to come. But it looks good. It looks very dour. They've obviously hazed the image. And that's fine. But I look at it, particularly when you see it in combined mode. I love the shattered windscreen. The gold used. It's I never went in for that. I've got the Takara version, the Hasbro version I should say, that came out through the Legacy line. But I look at that in those gritty colours, that deep gold, almost a bronze colour, what will be teal in there as well, those muted colours, and think, that could look quite smart. I'm not into Shattered Glass as much as some people, but that could look quite good in your collection. And we come on to Fanstoys, Robot Paradise, Fanstoys. We are now seeing some more cassettes. We have got a very, well, this will please a lot of people because we got kind of the remainder, but probably ones that no one was really crying out for. But hey, it's ones that weren't released. So we have Ratbat, we have Buzzsaw, we have, and this is going to test my knowledge, we've got, is it Cindersaur? No, it's not. It's the two from the Call of the Primitives episode that appear there, and I can never remember their name, the Stegosaurus and the Mini Tyrannosaurus. But we also get a little helper one, which again, I don't know the name of off the top of my head. I was excited to see it. I'm glad we got it. But of course, the other selling point here is that we get a repaint into Sound Blaster of Soundwave. And this is, no surprise, repaints or whatever, but do you know what? Back in the days of the cartoon, I always had it in my head that Soundwave was more black than blue. So I kind of look at this as G1 Soundwave. I always kind of have. So I can see this selling very well. I haven't got the Robot Paradise version. I've been very tempted to pick it up. Do like seeing it, because if I would get the blue Soundwave, I would like to have it in toy deco with the head sculpt, the yellow visor. And if I were to get this, I keep it in a more traditional, cartoon accurate, but in the Sound Blaster colours. So no surprise that's coming. Oh, Fanstoys, what have you done? We're at Combiners again, are we? Yes, we are. Scrapper. We're starting the Devastator Wars, and don't worry, we've got a few to go through. So, okay, it looks good. Scrapper is actually one of my particular favourite Decepticons, so I could be quite interested just to get this as a standalone figure. And it looks really good posability. Again, this is seemingly very far ahead in development. That's not CAD drawing. That's an actual painted image. So they've been working on this. You can see it transformed up. You can see it looking very stocky, very solid, even showing a halfway bend. And when you get it alongside Sovereign, that's not small. That is not small. See it transformed into alt mode alongside a typical Masterpiece Carbot, their renditions of the Stunticons. So they've been working on this. And I look at this one or two ways. I think this is going to be very good. It's going to be good quality. It makes sense. It makes sense that they're going for Devastator because of the troubles that they have had with Superion and Menasor, with the combiners that they're having to do parts forming with, structures to maintain a combined form as we understand it. But you can do it easier with Devastator because it's got 6 members, and this has always been the big selling point for companies to tackle Devastator, because you've got 6 members to play with, or if you're a Cang Toys, throw in extra members to pad it out. It does kind of work that way. So I'm not surprised. And you can see by the name, FT32A, that's going back on numbers. They kept a lot of these numbers hidden. I did see something on the internet some time ago, quite some time ago. There was a series of numbers left blank. So was this always the plan with Fanstoys, to leave these numbers 32A, B, C, D, E and F, whatever, to go for Devastator? They wanted to see how the aerial bots and Stunticons would do. I mean, if that is the case, then fine. I'm still wary. I want to finish the aerial bots. I want to see how a combiner looks before I start going down this route. It's not going to be cheap. This is the thing. You think of the price of an average Fanstoys. Okay, the Stunticons you can pick up for about £100 each, with the exception of Motormaster, Road King. If you do say it's £100 a figure, £600 in total, more likely more. I still want to see how Superion finishes off before I start going down this rabbit hole. And trust me, there's more Devastator to come. But quickly on to MMC. Now, again, there was a few slides shown by MMC, but stuff we have seen before, but I'm very pleased to be showing this one because I actually commented this on a Facebook post very recently of their big MMC tapes. Everyone's saying, what one would you like to see next? What repaint would you like? And I simply said, Ratbat. And sure enough, it's here. And that's great. I'd love to get a big size Ratbat. I've got Ravage, I've got Rumble, and I've got Frenzy. I chose not to get a big Laserbeak. I've just got the small cassette Laserbeak. But I would like to have a large size Ratbat because more of his status, if you like, the fact that he was once leader of the Decepticons. And it's very early in development, but the fact that they've gone through pretty much all the other cassettes, this was a no-brainer. It's a big character, big in stature. So yeah, we'd like to see that very soon. MMC have also shown a lot of things here. Now, again, we have seen Hotspot. The reason why I want to bring this out is I'm personally, whilst I'm in on this set, I do not think this Hotspot looks fantastic. And also, as I understand, at TFCon, X-Transbots prototype of their Hotspot, of their Protector bots, was there. And it looks so much better. This is too stocky as a Hotspot. I know it's going for the all-in-one, and we don't entirely know how X-Transbots are going to do the combiner, but of the two, just standalone figures, X-Transbots looks better. I think the shoulders on this don't look great. I think the feet look very stumpy, and I think the head sculpt, although I did see something it was mistransformed, but even still, it doesn't look fabulous. It's still early days as well. But I will say you get better views of Defensor itself, and I'm liking the detailing on that. I think the head sculpt looks brilliant. I think it looks very stocky, very chiseled, and very well proportioned. But the feet again look a little bit small, and I can see an upgrade kit coming. And this is what I always felt. Whilst this is a great selling point being all built in, does it look a little bit lacking come the end of it? Do you want to buy the upgrade kit to give it a bit more oomph? The hands look fine, the gun looks fine, the feet just could do with just being maybe a centimetre longer, that's all. But I do like how he's shaping up. And you see him there with a borrowed blast off going onto the arm to give a full size of structure. He's obviously not going to be that tall. But yeah, he is looking quite stocky. I do love that head sculpt. That is money. But also, MMC. What are you doing here? So they're re-releasing, I think, or for future releases at the very least, First Aid and Streetwise with new weapons and a new head sculpt. Okay, the new weapon might be a bit more toon accurate. I can't quite remember for First Aid, but the head sculpt, was the other one not? I was quite happy with the head sculpt. It was probably one of the things that really drew me to it, was the blue visor. This has got a clearer visor. Is that for a Comet version? It doesn't stand out to me. And again, for Streetwise, the head sculpt on it looks like he's got a gritted teeth on the go. If anything, looks worse. I'm very surprised by that. It seems an odd move for me. Why would you waste time going back over this? And again, that's got to be a very early prototype, because that looks yellow straight out of the box. I don't get what they're doing. I don't get why, but maybe they want to make some changes further on. Maybe this is cost saving. I don't know. But it'd be interesting to see a comparison of the first release to whenever these come out, to see which is better and if it was worth it. But on to more Devastator Wars. Yes, MMC have said for a little while that they were going to be doing Devastator next, and this is a scrapper that they've released, and you see it working towards a combined form. Now, this is again all in one. None of these, to my knowledge, have really been released yet. These are all just CAD drawings of what they'd like to do, but you can imagine if they've done Bruticus and they're finishing Defensor, that a 6-figure won't be too difficult, and they'll work their way to that eventually. For people who quite like the slightly smaller stature of an MMC versus a true masterpiece scale, this should be quite fine for them. And now we're on to Maketoys. Maketoys with maybe a bit of a quieter showing. We get another repaint of their Seeker mould, and this is, I guess, Slipstream colours. And part of me feels like we've seen this, so apologies if this has already come out, but I couldn't quite think if it had. I think this is Slipstream colours anyway, in a Conehead jet, and I forget which cone jet, Ramjet maybe. Looking at the propellers within the engines, it's nice, it's very purple, and it's nothing we haven't seen before. But Maketoys are known for throwing out repaints at very specific times, maybe to bolster up some funding. We got a Beast Wars Megatron. This is from Robot Toys. Robot Toys 02 Tyrant for a very, very small purple dinosaur. And also RT01 Caesar, a very small grey gorilla. It is what it is. Probably legend scale, that's all we know for the minute. On to X-Transbots. Strap in, there's a lot. So, first off, we have Shattered Glass Dante, their Inferno, in Hauler Green. So a Shattered Glass Inferno, basically. It is what it is. It's very muted green. It's also very CAD drawing. I have heard that there is QC issues with the paint on the chest. It can cause cracking and decaying. Just be careful. I guess that's all I'd say with X-Transbots. You kind of have to be. But I also think the stature and the size of these bots are quite good. I've been very tempted to pick up one myself. So yeah, that's how the mould is being used and being recoloured into Shattered Glass anyway. So, repaints are coming. Now, very, very recently, we have had their take on Bond James, their Punch Counterpunch, which will be reviewed on my channel very, very soon. And that's perfectly good. But we've got a lot of repaints coming. Now, I wonder something about this. This is going to be about 4 repaints, so I'll put them all up on screen and talk through best I can. They're clearly very confident in the mould to throw out so many repaints. I understand there's been some QC issues, which you probably got to expect, but they're clearly very happy with the mould to reuse it. So, straight away, we get much more racing livery, which I've got some of their racing liveries as well. Just here I have the repaint of their drag strip in the Tyrrell Formula 1 car. Being a big Formula 1 fan, I had to get that one in the 6 wheels. Love that. Despite that breaking on me first time of transforming it. So of course we get a much more racing livery with their Punch Counterpunch mould. The Panda Racer type Bond and James. Now the alt mode for Punch Counterpunch is a Pontiac Fiero and is a very common 80s racer, I suppose, that you could slap on liveries and go a bit rally carring almost, or touring car, NASCAR racer, box car racer, whatever you want to sum it up as. But you can see here some of the more actual liveries on there. And I love the rear shots with the yellow and red headlights in the grids. I think that looks very smart. Again, these are just CAD drawings. You can see how he looks in robot mode with the blue and white. I'm really keen on that. I might just get it just for that, just to keep it in that mode. And that's how he looks in his counter mode. But coming on, we got another repaint now. This is Yellow Racer, but actually having Goodyear, but Goodyear misspelt. But I saw that and thought, you can't get away with putting that on there. But I love the colours on that, very shell looking. That's a very grainy image as well. So yeah, maybe very, very fresh. But as I say, if they're putting out so many of these images and so many of these repaints, here we are with an Indy 500 car, 1984. Pace car, I love that in the actual Pontiac shell, and it's predominantly a white car, at least in my mind. So I do like seeing all of these, and there it is again in the Indy 500. Indianapolis 5000, Indy 500 surely. But I do really like how it looks, and yeah, they're very confident of this mould to throw out so many repaints, particularly so quickly. And we have more Constructicons. So we have their hook, and there is a lot to show here. Again, just CAD, and even on some of the CADs it's not even finished. So again, this is very, very fresh. You can see it all, and you see it in combine mode as well. So they're pretty much saying he's going to combine straight away, which is more than what Fanstoys did. But we have all of their others to show you. We have got their Gravedigger, as they refer to him as. We've got Big Load for their long haul alongside their grapple. Again, that grapple is not going to be small. And you can see it in alt mode, and you have them all together with Mixmaster for some reason in combine mode to one side, and how they're going through all of the numbers. You also get a combined shot of their Devastator, maybe looking a little bit misproportioned, but it's early days. I'm not going to give them too much trouble over it. Maybe the waist and the width of the thighs don't quite match the width of the shoulders and the arms, but hey, I'm willing to see another combiner. I want to see what they do with it. And this is coming in at 522mm, which will be 52 centimeters, and also will come out to around 20 inches. So fairly big, not the biggest. I think that's fair to say that X-Transbots don't really go for the super massive scale. They don't go for the Zeta, they don't go for the Toy World, they don't go for the Cang Toys. They're just coming down that bit. Probably too much to be considered chug. Maybe, that's up to you. But what I do like is the fact that it's coming with 8 different flavours of heads, and that's more than you can say for other combiners. You might say with Fanstoys for their Superion, you could have toy mode and you can have cartoon mode, and the same for Zeta as well. But looking at here, I mean, you've got some here that even I don't recognise. What is that one in the top left? Why has it got a yellow helmet on? You've got Toy Deco, you've got a really grumpy one, visor one, just an eye one, square head, yeah, slightly chiseled head, maybe movie head in there as well. I really do like the fact that you can choose your flavour of Devastator, because in the cartoon he did change quite a lot from episode to episode depending on who was drawing it, I suppose. So yeah, that's quite interesting, and X-Transbots laying their cards out very, very early. Now, there's only one image of this. They are also working on an Ironhide. I do think there was a prototype of Ratchet there. So that is quite interesting, and it looked quite good, to be fair. Very jagged head, so not quite G1. But there was a red van as well, and you can imagine if Ratchet's there, Ironhide will follow. Here's Ironhide from the back. He's called Ron. Great name. And that's it. That's all of them. Again, I haven't gone through every single one that is there. I've just picked out some of them. I'll put a link up to TFW where you can go through them all. This is, of course, just the Saturday releases. It's not always that there's some more on a Sunday, but last year, or last TFCon, I believe there was, so we'll look out and see if there's anything more. The big selling point here is X-Transbots have been busy, Fanstoys have clearly been working, and we've got some more Devastators and Constructicons to come. So this is quite a lot to take in, but it's always great to see. I love the sort of anticipation for what's to come. You do worry or wonder about what are the things that you've heard about in previous reveals that you don't see any more of. Fanstoys Chrome Dome, are we still going down that route? I don't know. We'll have to see what comes. Maybe if there's an update on their Ultra Magnus. So yeah, good to see some really good reveals there. Ratbat I'm really interested and really looking forward to. And seeing how I go when I review Punch Counterpunch. Maybe I'll give X-Transbots another chance. But anyway, thanks for watching, and as always, I will see you on the next one.